something about it
does make it
now.
politics.
100%.
It does make it politics for the Democrats.
So let me explain.
Then fix it.
I don't
If you
care
want to
about
be
the
above politics,
But you just
fix
criticize
it.
the Republicans and the Democrats
No,
do a daily
what I'm
thing
saying
since
is that
She
2016.
criticized both.
When you
wait,
had
Ben,
the
wait.
chance.
Let me. I said I always do. I call it like I see it.
Okay.
The Democrats failed.
Miserable.
Right? They failed.
And didn't care until politics came in.
But a Democratic hoax. He's minimizing what happened to these
I agree,
women.
but it is true that Democrats deserve some blame for the fact that for the last 4 years they
didn't
could
care.
have released these in
didn't
Sunday.
give a crap.
Just a second.
She's never found a camera she didn't love.
Hold on a second.
I'm not going to
Like the
defend her.
president,
These folks
Again, I'm
Or
talking
any
about Marjorie Green.
politician.
I'm not a
Right.
fan.
Hold on a
I want
second.
to be clear.
This is not about.
Survivors
Democrats
are
are the
asking.
only ones that went out there every day in front of these cameras to play politics. They
No,
didn't give a
Marjorie
damn.
Taylor
They
Greene
didn't
is
care.
not a Democrat.
It's astonishing that the so-called party of family values would then not value these women and these survivors who are saying, here we are, hear us.
You can't just release everything.
That was the excuse.
I mean,
Come on, that
nobody-
excuse is done.
You even said it a moment ago.
I did, but that
You
excuse...
just said a moment ago. I literally could quote you tonight on the show. Dan Abrams said, dot.
Well, then you misunderstood me. Because let me be...
So
let
you
me,
wanna
I'll-
release
let me
everything.
make it really clear.
Hello, everybody. Guys, we got Dumbo and the lapdog. And you know what I was just thinking? Guys, where's Chris Hansen in all of this from To Catch a Predator? We need him on this case. Mr. Trump, can you take a seat for a second? Would you like to explain yourself? Let's get into this segment and we'll talk about it.
Tonight, lawmakers from both sides of the aisle stood outside the Capitol alongside women who said that they were abused by Jeffrey Epstein. It was all in support of an effort to bypass House leadership and force a vote on releasing the Epstein Files. The victims had a simple message for President Trump, one that he promptly ignored.
We are tired of looking at the news and seeing Jeffrey Epstein's name and saying that this is a hoax. We are tired of it.
This is a Democrat hoax that never ends.
Listen to us. This is not a hoax. Like, it's not going to go away.
From what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given, but it's really a Democrat hoax.
I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real.
We're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
The White House, in a statement today, says helping Thomas Massie and liberal Democrats with their attention-seeking, while the DOJ is fully supporting a more comprehensive file release effort from the Oversight Committee, would be viewed as a very hostile act to this administration. Nina, I am still really struggling to understand why this opposition. Why is it so strong from the White House? The opposition to what these women want, the opposition to what some members of their own party want.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time too, Abby. It's one thing to say, if he wants to blame Representative Massey or Representative O'Connor, that's one thing, even though I believe that they're doing the right thing. But when you have the survivors who have unified and said, see us, we're here, this is what we need and what we want, and yet the president continues to dismiss it, that's hard. And the president is showing a disregard for the collective experiences of these women and even younger, girls. And it's astonishing that the so-called party of family values would then not value these women and these survivors who are saying, here we are, hear us, that this is not a partisan issue. See, they playing games in our face. You playing politics with people's lives when, in fact, these women should get their say and also release what you have and let the chips fall where they may.
There's a legal...
I don't know. I have a guess. Maybe the Republicans simply were just never about family values or Christian values, as they say. The truth is they only ever use those terms whenever they want to attack certain groups of people, or abortion, gay people, when they try and make their argument that women shouldn't be working or shouldn't be able to vote. These people are gross. But hey, you want to traffic children? The Republican Party welcomes you with open arms. Party of family values, right? And I would love to know what their God would think about all of this when it's their time to explain themselves. Ay, pobrecito, hope your excuses will suffice.
argument to make here that they shouldn't be releasing files, right, of just investigative files in any case, right?
Well, release what they can.
And well, look, they would say that they are releasing what they can.
Well,
if the argument is release what you can, they have a good argument. If the argument is release everything, that's where the hypocrisy
well,
comes in.
release what you can, and then don't just try to make this just a Democratic hoax. He's minimizing what happened to these
I agree,
women.
but it is true that Democrats deserve some blame for the fact that for the last 4 years they could have released these, and suddenly this is the biggest issue to them in the world.
No, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
Hey, let me tell you something. See, I'm a whole different breed. When President Biden failed, and any other Democrat in that mix failed, they should have released them then. But just because they didn't release them then, or just because they didn't do anything or speak up about it, does not negate. But Ben, it does not negate.
But it does make
opportunity to do something about it.
It does make it politics.
100%.
It does make it politics for the Democrats.
So let me explain.
Then fix it.
I don't care about
the above politics.
But you just criticize the Republicans and the Democrats do a daily
what I'm
thing
saying
since
is that
2016.
Wait, I always do. I call it like I see it.
Okay.
The Democrats failed.
Miserable.
Right? They failed.
And didn't care until politics came in.
But, okay. So let President Trump, who's the greatest president to ever walk the face of the earth, ask him, he'll tell you that. President Trump has an opportunity here. I want the president to see this as an opportunity to do some
let's not
good
just blame
for
Democrats.
these women.
I blame Democrats for me. Let's also blame the far right on this. They're the ones who've been clamoring for years.
Shut up, Dan. I'm getting sick of this dude. Nina is slick as all hell. And let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. She made this argument before, and I didn't catch it. But I think what she's doing is, okay, yeah, you're right. It's the Democrats' fault. They're horrible people. Now release the damn files. I think that's what she's doing. You guys care, right? Trump is this amazing man, the best president of all time. Release the files. Show us that he's the best president of all time, right? I think that's what she's doing. She's slick. Let me know in the comments if that's what you think she's doing. That's what it looks like to me. This dude, Dan Abrams, he's a snake. Like, again, what does this have to do with Dems? They are not in office anymore. This can all be fixed right now. Literally every issue is the Dems' fault. We don't have Senate control, House control, the presidency, nothing. We weren't the party obsessed with releasing the documents either. And now that Trump is in office and that party that was obsessed with it, we just keep hearing it's the Democrats' fault. Like, how effing convenient is that? And again, what made all of this blow up, Dan Abrams here, is simply Trump's behavior. We didn't make it political. It was clearly his behavior and his very obvious involvement at this point. That's why the Democrats jumped on it, because clearly something wasn't right. Something was fishy, like all of us are thinking. Like all of America is thinking, like, wait, this seems odd. That's why we jumped on it. Was it political, you idiot? This wasn't in display before. I hate this both sides argument. It's garbage.
To get the Epstein Files released, and suddenly many of them don't care about it, which is why someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene deserves credit for intellectual consistency.
Let me play Marjorie Taylor Greene on this, because I think she makes the point that you're making.
Today he called it a hoax. While these women were speaking out, it's not a hoax because Jeffrey Epstein is a convicted pedophile. That takes away the whole hoax things. It's not a hoax. It's not a lie. One of the Trump admin officials came out and called this a hostile act against the Trump administration. Well, that coward attacked me and attacked anybody else and called it a hostile act. The hostile act was Jeffrey Epstein raping 14-year-old girls. That was the hostile act, and it's not a hoax.
You know what? We're in this conversation, the women and girls are getting lost. Yes, the Democrats did the wrong thing, and now President Trump is doing the wrong thing. Calling this a hoax, whether he's referring to whatever he's exactly, but using that language, and even the conversation tonight, who's to blame? We need to be focusing on these survivors and their stories, and we are not doing that enough.
That's not the legal question we're asking.
But the
question
president
is,
can you put everything out there and protect the victims?
Politics. The survivors
Democrats
are
the
asking.
only ones that went out there every day in front of these cameras to play politics.
No,
they didn't give a
Marjorie
damn.
Taylor
They
Greene
didn't
is
care.
not a Democrat.
Hold on. Yeah, exactly.
Any day of the
Marjorie
week.
Taylor
Let's be
Greene's
clear
not
about-
a Democrat.
hold on, let me say this about
Thomas
Marjorie Taylor
Massey's
Greene.
not a
Hold on,
Democrat.
let me say this.
Hold on a second.
She's never found a camera she didn't love.
Hold on a second.
I'm not going to
Like the
defend her.
president?
These folks
Again, I'm
Or
talking
any
about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
politician.
I'm not a
Right.
fan.
Hold on a
I wanna
second.
be clear.
This is not about Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? This is not about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Prior to this moment, even when Donald Trump was on the campaign trail, he was up
He was
there.
advocating for the
He was up
victims.
there. He was saying, we're going to release the Jeffrey Epstein
Kash
files.
Patel said it should have
Kash
been day
Patel,
one.
We're going to
No,
release the Epstein
no.
files. So listen,
We
they
did
said
raise
they,
the legal
but he
argument.
they
talked
said
about it,
they
and he wasn't
wanted
afraid
to
of how
release
Democrats
it.
were.
They said they wanted to release it. And the thing is, there's
Said they
a
were going to
huge
release it.
gap between what Trump is saying and what he could say.
But
That would
actually,
be,
let me say
right?
this.
So what he's saying is, this is all a hoax. They're out to get me, whatever. He
No, he's
could
saying the story
say,
that outrage
he
is a
could
hoax.
say, we
By
are
Democrats.
going to try to get to the bottom of this.
He said
could
that.
say
He
that,
has said
that
that.
we are going to do that in a way that doesn't violate anybody's rights, but that gets justice for the victims.
That's what they're doing.
He did not say that.
No.
Abby, okay, let me explain. For everyone that's watching,
Dumbo is so disgusting. He is so disgusting. He knows what Trump is doing and what he's doing. When you step back, he's protecting a clear, just a person that's obviously clearly involved in child trafficking. This is what the Republican Party has become. Scott thinks he's slick, being quiet over there in the corner. And I've been seeing this. I need to say this. I've been seeing this a lot about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sorry, but she's a nasty opportunist. I don't trust that be anything coming from her. She won't even dare mention Trump when talking about him and his suspicious behavior. She talks about it nonstop, but doesn't mention Trump's behavior on this. It's just like how she's against Israel. She's not for the Palestinians, people. She's anti-Semitic. She despises Jewish people. So when it comes to these little children getting harmed, with this whole Epstein Files thing, I doubt she gives one F about that. I want to make that clear. That's my perspective. Because let's be honest, if she was part of Trump's cabinet, because she's pissed about that, she thought Trump was going to give her some type of cabinet or some type of position. Do you think if she got one of those positions that she would be doing any of this? Get the F out of here. I've seen a lot of people, even on the left, giving her credit like morons. Like, how can you not see through this creature? The creature of the abyss. She wants control of Trump's base. That's all. She's an opportunist. Ben is right about that part.
they understand actually how simple this is. Donald Trump is saying the hoax is Democrats acting like they give a damn about these women. That's exactly what he's been saying over and over again. Second point is this. You have to protect the victims. I said this on this show with you weeks ago. You can't just release everything.
That was the excuse. Come on, that excuse is done.
You even said that a moment ago.
I did, but that excuse.
You just said a moment ago. I literally could quote you tonight on the show. Dan Abrams said, ...
Well, then you misunderstood me. Because let me be.
So you want to release everything.
Let me make it really clear. I'll make it really clear. I said that in any investigation, there should be real concern about releasing all of the underlying
Couldn't agree with you
information.
more.
I happen to believe that. I believe that in this investigation. I believe it in any investigation. But the enormous hypocrisy of the far right in particular on this, in particular, Pam Bondi saying, it's sitting on my desk, and all we're doing right now is we are working overnight. All these FBI agents are in there redacting the names of victims. That's all we're doing before we release it. We now know that's not true. That's a lie. That was not what was happening. Because if that's what was happening, this would have been released already. That doesn't mean, yes, and therefore we must release it all. But let's at least call a spade a spade. And just be able to just call it out.
Okay, I got to give Scott a quick last word here, Scott.
Scott has been real smart to sit there quietly in the corner. He was hoping he didn't get asked on like the teacher. That was hilarious. But Dumbo is so vile because, again, step back and understand what he's doing and his full intent. He does not give a F about the victims, obviously. His entire intent here is to defend Trump at all costs and block the releasing of those files. Because he just knows what's very, very likely in there. And at this point, you got to be you got to be a brain dead moron not to see what's happening here with Trump. And this is what the Republicans are cornered into doing. To defend this. Imagine being a Republican, having to defend this. It's so disgusting. And it's going to be real embarrassing, right? If it does get released. So they're desperately trying to do anything. Blame Democrats. Lie and say you want to protect the victims. Anything but showing what's in those damn files.
Yeah, well, first of all, they have released 30-something thousand documents.
97% of which have been released.
Yeah,
they're obviously, what the White House obviously wants is to set up a process here where they're working it through the House Oversight Committee. Sounds reasonable to me.
No, they're stalling and delaying. This is why I believe nothing's going to get released. And now they're saying more and more Republicans are not signing Ro Khanna and Massey's bill to release the files. Like,
I watched a lot of the coverage of this today. I was somewhat surprised. And by the way, I'm sympathetic to the victims. I think they should be heard. I'm glad they testified. I think they should get to talk as much as they want. I was somewhat surprised today to not hear who. I didn't hear any names today. I thought when they had their press conference, they were going to start. They were going to start.
They said they're compiling
names.
a list.
They're going to.
Just now?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm waiting for the same list.
Say,
I was a little
say,
surprised.
Scott, I mean, we got to go. But one thing to note is that many of them had never met each other until today.
Yeah.
And so the idea that all of these victims are now in the same space, that really has not ever happened.
And it's
before.
not so
why is the
easy.
onus is on them, though?
So yeah, I
But
mean, you'll
they
see
know-
what comes of what they know collectively.
But they know who
and they've
abused them.
also said that they
And
want to
it's not
release.
so easy
They want
to
to release the
accuse
names
people if you've been a victim.
confidentially, and I think that they're doing that for a reason, perhaps to do it responsibly, not to just put the names out there, but to say, this is what our recollection is. Let's give it to the authorities who might be able to do something about it. The question is, will anybody do anything about it? That's still an open
to
question.
give those names without knowing you're going to get protection of law enforcement around you
is
very
a big
frightening.
part of it.
And you might get sued.
Yeah, and you might get sued. Next for us, New York.
yeah, Scott Jennings knows that they're not going to just say, oh, Trump's name is in, right? They have to make sure they got protections. Again, think about what Scott Jennings is doing there. He prefaced that whole little soliloquy there with saying he cares about the victims, but they didn't mention any names. So what are you trying to say? There are no names, jackass? Like, look who these people are. Independents out there. Again, I said about this channel, this channel's not meant to convince Republicans. These people are deplorables. Hillary Clinton was right about that. I have no intent to convince any of those disgusting people. If they move over and learn something, great. That's fine. Independents out there. This is who the Republican Party is. And like I said before, when Biden was in office, this country was in complete shutdown. It was a pandemic. No one on the Dem side thought there was more to the Epstein Files. It simply, or it just simply wasn't the focus. Unfortunately, of course. But that was the case of the times. And like I said, if any Democrats are there, take all their assets to jail. Like, what the hell do I care? I don't care who it is. Lock them all up. Better yet, if I'm in those damn files, throw me in jail. Like, this is so ridiculous. Just release the files. It's always the Democrats' fault. They're going to stall this out. They're going to stall it out. Release 97% of the documents that they already released. They're just not... we're not going to get anything substantive. I would be surprised. And again, the full power is on the Republicans to release the files. They are the only ones trying to block this. Every single Democrat signed to release those files. But sure, let's keep saying it's both sides, Dan Abrams. It's the Democrats' fault too, right? Effing jackass. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. This conversation got me pissed off. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe. Really helps the channel, really helps push the message out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.